I got a second Tarmogoyf. Yeah, another Tarmogoyf comes down and it's gigantic. We have creature, planeswalker, land, instant sorcery, artifact. So I think it's a 6/7. We don't have tribal and we don't have enchantment, but I think we have the other ones. So Austin's at what I believe is his last top deck. He's trying to get an Oblivion Stone, a Worm Coil, a Karn, but it looks like he might have drew an Expedition map, which does not pair too well with. And he might be playing some land, maybe a Mystifying Maze. Is that a new Tron tech to stop Tarmogoyf? No, it's going to be an Urza's Tower. And unless I'm missing something, that should all but in this game, and we should be seeing Chucky play second or Austin play first in the second game. He's going to pass. Chucky's going to draw and attack. And that's going to be it. We're going to go to the second game. There was a life error that game. It ended up not mattering. I did try to take care of that. But we're going to see Austin certainly play first in the second game. And I don't have anyone actually over here doing this currently with me. Doing this with me currently is how I should say that. And so if I get a little boring, I apologize. I don't have somebody to bounce my thoughts off of. So if in the chat, if you get bored, just give me some topics and we can discuss some things. Like right now, well, not right now, but tomorrow, Grand Prix Charlotte is going to be going on. It's modern. It's all modern all the time here at Hometown Hobbies. That's all we love. That's what we love to talk about. And if you sign up for this tournament, of course, you get the amazing Noble Hierarch playmat, which is very, very cool. And I believe you also get a deck box, if I know right. If I had to make an estimate, or not really an estimate, I guess that's the wrong word. If I had to make a prediction, I would assume that there is going to be a lot of Tron. There should be a decent amount of Jund. It is a fairly expensive deck to throw together, but Modern Masters 2015 certainly helped out with the amount of Tarmogoyfs in the world. Yeah, we're in Huntington, West Virginia at Hometown Hobbies, streaming Modern, and we're currently streaming in Rare Drops. It's the retro video game store next door, so the players next door can't hear me at all. We have cords going through, so we're able to stay connected. But yeah, the folks at Rare Drops are very, very nice and kind enough to let us use their space to do this. So if I had to think from Chucky, I definitely think he's going to bring in the Fulminator Mages. If he still has the Sword of Light and Shadow, he might bring that in just to try to recur those Fulminator Mages. That's pretty huge. I think he has, let's see, I'm trying to remember, some Chokes, some Kitchen Finks, some Spellskites, some Shatterstorms. So none of those cards come in. I imagine he's going to bring in roughly 5 cards. Looks like a little bit more than that. He might bring in... Oh, it looks like those are the cards he's taking out. He's bringing in 6. My favorite deck is hands down Jund. Not ever, but in current formats, since pretty much 2009, it's been my favorite. Or I guess 2008. No, it was 2009. Yeah, 2009 was when Jund became its own deck in Zendikar block. The first set of Zendikar. That was my favorite iteration of Jund. It played some Garruk Wild Speakers and some Broodmate Dragons. So naturally, I played it with it when it had Thrag Tusks, Lilianas, and Huntmasters. And now in Modern, I play it with Tarmogoyfs, Confidants, Huntmasters, and Lilianas. It's a culmination of all the Jund decks of past. Chucky's probably going to take out, if I had to guess, some Abrupt Decays. I can't think that you really want those in. Now, if Tron has a sideboard card I don't know about that Abrupt Decay is very good against, then I'm making a very, very, poor observation here. But I think that you want to side those out. Chuggy obviously doesn't have Blood Moon, but that is a card that absolutely devastates Tron. They are pretty much unable to beat it. They just have to play a turn 3 Oblivion Stone and turn 5 not die and use the Oblivion Stone to survive. Both of which are things that you will not see happen ever, and if so, not often. The most powerful modern deck that doesn't see a lot of play? Man, that's a tough one. Because I think the most powerful modern decks see play. The most powerful modern deck that doesn't see regular tournament play, if I could word it that way. I want to say Infect, but when players like John Finkel play Infect, it makes it a little more well known than, an off the wall deck, than a rogue deck. Maybe Blue, White, Red, but once again, that's another one that is in about the same boat. Yeah, the Goryo's Vengeance deck is another one that it's weird. I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance to play too much against it. I think the main reanimation target is Grizzlebrand, in which case that is pretty awesome. Grizzlebrand is a great way to win Magic. It's a pretty, honestly, unfair card if it resolves. You can't really race it unless you have a piece of removal immediately, which there are Terminates being played a lot now, and Path to Exiles. Siege Rhino and Tarmogoyf helped see that Terminate started seeing play again. The Norn the Weary deck, the Soul Sisters build. If so, I've not had the chance to play against that yet. I'm actually not entirely sure what that deck looks like. I know of the combo, but I'm not entirely sure how the deck itself actually works in a real game of Magic. Yeah, you can't hate bears. You have to love bears. Runeclaw Bear, Grizzly Bear, the Bears. I guess Tribal Zoo. I don't know if that is... unless that's what Suicide Zoo is. I've never heard it called that. But Tribal Zoo is probably another one that's pretty strong. It gets to play some of the more powerful cards. Chucky is up a game, and Austin's certainly going to be on the play. We're going to see this one start off our Game 2 in Round 1 at Hometown Hobbies. We're streaming Modern. And right now, some of our players are in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina for the Grand Prix that is also Modern. And we have a tournament next month that's going to be gigantic, and it's Modern. So we're going to have a lot of Modern being streamed for the next few weeks here at Hometown Hobbies. So if you like Modern, awesome. If you don't, I am so sorry. We'll get some Standard in there eventually, but right now we're going to focus on Modern. And both players are going to check out their sevens. It looks like Austin kept his, and Chucky's going to look at his. And I see a couple Liliana of the Veils, so it might not be an optimal hand, but we'll see if he decides to keep it ultimately very shortly. He has a couple mixes of lands, some red and black ones. We're basically seeing... the winner of the Invitational this past weekend at the bottom versus the third place winner at the top. There are some major differences, as I believe that Austin at the bottom of your screen is playing Karplusan Forest instead of Grove of the Burnwillows, which is gigantic. Pinging yourself for one versus making an opponent gain one is way different. As caring about your life total in this format is a lot more important than caring about your opponent's life total, especially when they're gaining life. That is pretty irrelevant. And Chucky's going to mold a 6. He did not like the look of his first hand. We do have some legacy tournaments every now and then. It's been about a month or two since we've had one because we've been focusing on modern. But yeah, if we get enough legacy players, we will absolutely stream legacy. As I think a lot of people would like to watch that. That format is a blast. It's one of my favorite formats to play myself. Once again, we're in Rare Drops. It is next door to Hometown Hobbies, who is us. And next door to us is Purple Earth Comics. We have the coolest little 3-store mini mall in the tri-state area, maybe in all of West Virginia, honestly. It goes a retro video game store, a card shop, and a comic book shop, all in one, all within 10 feet of each other. It's fantastic. We're going to see a turn 1 Urza's Land come down into an expedition map for Austin, which is a very strong start for him as he wants to try to get natural Tron on turn 3, which it won't be natural as he has the key to search up the missing piece. Verdant Catacomb is going to come down, and I believe it's going to shock him, as Chucky is certainly going to play a Thoughtseize effect here. He's going to grab Overgrown Tomb. Looks like Thoughtseize. Oh, that's a different Thoughtseize. It's a Lorwyn one. Or the Cons one. Wow, Theros. That was close. We're going to see an Eye of Eugene, a Pyro, a Wormcoil, and it looks like a tower, and I cannot remember which Urza's Land that is. It looks like that he has a power plant in play, so I would guess that that is an Urza's Mine. I believe there's 4 different arts for each of those, as Chucky takes Wormcoil Engine away. This week, I believe we have 24 or so in the Modern Tournament. That's usually around how many we have if there's not a big tournament like a Grand Prix that's fairly close. There was an Invitational last weekend, so it affected our tournament greatly because a majority of our players go to those. But it's safe to assume that every week we have 20 to 30 in our main tournament with other tournaments kicking off. Like, we still have a standard F&M next door. We have a draft F&M and a commander F&M. So this one is 24 to 25. He grabbed Karplusan Forest with his expedition map. He definitely has mine and tower in play, or power plant and tower in play with mine in his hand. So he does have Tron in his hand, but no Wormcoil now. He has the Eye of Ugin to search up a big fatty, but I'm not sure if that's what he'll do. Chucky's going to play a Bloodstained Mire and pass it back. After he cuts, we'll see Austin untap and draw. This is round 1 of our Modern F&M. I believe we're going to have 5 rounds tonight. And he's going to play Tron with an Urza's Mine. He has a Pyroclasm, Karplusan Forest, and an Eye of Ugin that we know of, and an Oblivion Stone that we did not know of. Chucky's going to end of turn sacrifice his Bloodstained Mire, lose a life down to 14. He's going to grab the second Overgrown Tomb. That's an interesting choice. I think that means he might have a Scavenging Ooze. Or he has the red sources in hand. So there's a lot of fun tournaments coming up this between now and July 18th. That's when